You are not here by chance. Out of billions of signals in this universe, this message found you. That is proof that something within you has been calling, searching and preparing for this very frequency. Money is not paper, not numbers. It is energy, vibration, rhythm, and there exists a hidden frequency that those who are truly wealthy have unconsciously aligned with. Once you feel it, once you embody it, doors swing open that logic cannot explain. You were chosen to hear this because your timeline is ready to shift. This is the moment you learn the secret of wealth. Then listen closely, because it is something you must allow to sink into the deepest part of your being. Money does not answer to the sweat of your brow alone. Though the world has conditioned you to believe that if you grind harder, sacrifice more, force yourself through endless hours, then wealth will finally reward you. But if that were true, wouldn't the hardest working people on earth already be the richest? Look carefully. Most of those who labor endlessly are not the ones who are free. This paradox is the first crack in the illusion you've been taught. Money does not move in response to strain. It moves in response to resonance. It is vibration, frequency, energy and motion. It is alive in its own way, an intelligent current within the field of reality. It listens, it feels, it responds, not to your struggle but to your state. The harder you chase it, the more it flees, because in chasing you declare separation. You say, it is not yet mine, and so the universe must reflect that truth back to you. But the moment you shift, the moment your energy relaxes into abundance, something remarkable happens. It begins to chase you. Not because the world outside has suddenly changed, but because the signal you emit has shifted, and the field cannot ignore it. Wealth is not something you acquire, it is something you allow, something you tune to, something that has always been surrounding you like an invisible ocean waiting for you to learn how to swim in it. Think of a magnet. It does not chase the metal. It simply rests in its own power, and the attraction is inevitable. You too are a magnet, but when you are charged with lack, you repel. When you are charged with wholeness, you attract. And here lies the mystery most overlooked. The work is not in the hustle. The work is in the inner tuning. The rich are not simply lucky, and they are not always more intelligent. They are aligned, whether they know it consciously or not. They walk with a certain assumption, a certain energy that says, money is natural for me, and reality cannot help but conform to that conviction. Feel this in your own life. Recall the times when money flowed easily, when opportunities seemed to appear out of nowhere, when solutions arrived before problems could overwhelm you. What was your state in those moments? You were relaxed, confident, open. Now contrast it with the times when you desperately needed money, when fear consumed you, when you obsessed over how little you had. In those times, did it come faster, or did everything seem to close around you? This is not punishment. It is feedback. The universe was teaching you what frequency creates flow and what frequency creates resistance. So many live trapped in the belief that money is earned only through endless effort. But effort without frequency is like shouting into a void. It exhausts you, yet returns little, while aligned energy, even with small action, multiplies results beyond logic. This is why some seem to manifest wealth almost magically, while others grind for decades with little to show. Do you see the pattern now? Do you feel the invitation beneath the parrot? The moment you stop chasing and instead begin aligning, money feels you differently. It senses a new vibration emanating from you, a calm certainty, and it begins to orbit your life. This does not mean you do nothing. Action is still required, but aligned action is different from desperate action. Desperate action drains. Aligned action expands. Desperate action says, if I don't do this, I will lose. Aligned action says, I am already in the flow, and this step is the natural unfolding. One is born of fear, the other of resonance. One repels, the other attracts. And what determines the difference? Your state, your vibration, your inner frequency. Money is not only numbers in a bank. It is consciousness responding to consciousness. Imagine it as a living frequency that recognizes where it belongs. It gravitates to clarity, to openness, to those who are not clutching or begging, but radiating. The poor often unknowingly send out a frequency of resistance, fear, worry, doubt, while the wealthy send out a frequency of inevitability. This is not arrogance, but alignment. They simply expect wealth and therefore it comes. Expectation is creation. And you may ask, how can I shift my expectation when my reality shows me lack? That is the doorway. Reality is only a mirror of yesterday's frequency. What you feel today is already shaping what will arrive tomorrow. To wait for reality to change before you feel abundant is to wait forever. To feel abundant first is to bend reality itself. This is why Revelation 1 is so crucial. Money is not moved by struggle. It is moved by state. Now let me tell you something most never hear. Money is drawn to joy, not shallow happiness, but genuine joy that says, I am alive, I am enough, I am whole. When you enter this frequency, opportunities appear, synchronicities align, resources flow, and people you never imagined suddenly cross your path. It looks like coincidence, but it is not. It is resonance. The universe cannot help but rearrange itself to match the song you are broadcasting, and money is one of its instruments, a symbol of energy flowing where your vibration calls it. So when you hear this, do not simply think about it. Feel it. Imagine yourself as the magnet. Imagine money as a current of energy swirling, seeking those who are aligned. Imagine dropping the heavy weight of desperation, the exhausting chase, the belief that wealth is far away. Replace it with the certainty that it is already here, already surrounding you, already waiting for your signal to shift. And in that moment, the chase ends, and the dance begins. You are not meant to grind endlessly for scraps. You are meant to radiate and allow. You are not meant to beg reality for more. You are meant to command it by your frequency. This is not arrogance, it is remembrance. You are remembering that you were never separate from wealth. You were simply broadcasting the wrong signal. Now you are tuning back to the truth. Money is not your enemy. It is not scarce. It is not limited. It is energy, and energy responds to you. Feel this, live this, and you will see the paradox dissolve. When you stop chasing, it begins to chase. Desire is powerful, but it is also a double-edged sword. It carries within it both the spark of creation and the shadow of lack. When you desire something, you announce to the universe, this is not yet mine. And the universe, which only knows how to mirror your vibration, reflects that absence back to you again and again. This is why so many who long desperately for wealth feel it slip further and further away, as if their very yearning is pushing it out of reach. Yet here lies a great mystery. The same energy of desire, when refined, becomes the frequency of inevitability. It transforms from longing into having, from scarcity into embodiment. And that shift, subtle though it seems, is everything of it. This way, when you say to yourself, I want money, the vibration behind those words is lack. But when you say, I already have wealth flowing through me, even if your bank account does not yet reflect it, the vibration behind those words is possession, alignment, fulfillment. The first statement sets you in a state of waiting. The second places you in a state of arrival. And the universe, infinitely responsive, knows no difference between the material and the energetic. It does not distinguish between what your senses see and what your spirit feels. To the field, only vibration matters, only resonance counts. So the question is not whether you desire wealth, the question is what frequency your desire carries. Most live in a loop of wanting, a cycle of hunger that never closes. They think, when I have the money, I will feel abundant. But the law of vibration works in reverse. When you feel abundant, then the money arrives. Do you see the paradox? To the logical mind, it seems backward, almost impossible, but in truth, it is the only way reality works. You cannot wait for external confirmation, because the external is always lagging behind the internal. If you continue to desire, you continue to affirm separation. If you shift into embodiment, you collapse separation, and what was potential becomes manifestation. This is why the wealthy, even before their wealth, often carried a sense of inevitability about them. They didn't just want money. They expected it. They lived as if it was already theirs. It was not arrogance. It was attunement. They walked with the vibration of having, and reality was compelled to follow. Have you ever noticed that those who truly feel rich inside seem to attract opportunities without effort, while those who constantly remind everyone how broke they are remain stuck in that cycle? Words carry frequency, feelings carry broadcast power, and life arranges itself according to that signal. Now, do not misunderstand, this is not about pretending, nor is it about lying to yourself. Pretending carries the frequency of falseness, and the field responds with confusion. What we are speaking of is embodiment. Close your eyes and step into the version of yourself who already has more than enough. Feel what that version feels. Breathe as they breathe. Carry yourself as they would carry themselves. This is not fantasy. It is practice. Just as an athlete rehearses movements before stepping into the game, you are rehearsing states of consciousness before reality reflects them back. And with enough repetition, your body cannot tell the difference between what is imagined and what is lived. Once the body believes, the energy shifts. And once the energy shifts, the external follows. The frequency of wealth does not sound like desperate wanting. It hums with quiet certainty. It does not say, "Please someday." It whispers, "It is already done." And the more you lean into that whisper, the louder it becomes, until your entire being vibrates with it. That is when doors open, often without you even knowing why. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right person, stumbling into the right opportunity. To the outside observer, it looks like chance, but you will know it is not. It is alignment in action. It is the universe echoing back the song you've been singing within. Notice how different it feels in your body when you speak from lack versus when you speak from embodiment. Say quietly in your mind, "I need money." Feel the constriction, the tightness, the sense of absence that ripples through your being. Now shift and say, "I already have wealth. I already embody abundance." Even if your mind doubts it, notice how your chest opens, how your breath deepens, how your energy expands. That expansion is the signal. That openness is the invitation. And the universe responds not to your words alone, but to the frequency behind them. This is why so many affirmations fail for people. They repeat words while still vibrating with lack. They say, "I am wealthy," but their inner state whispers, "I don't believe this." And the field mirrors the whisper, not the word. To truly manifest wealth, you must not only say it, you must feel it, you must live it, you must practice the embodiment until it becomes natural. The moment it feels natural, reality has no choice but to mirror it. Desire, then, is the starting point, but embodiment is the destination. You are not asked to kill your desire, for desire is sacred. It is the spark of creation, the fuel of expansion, but you are asked to refine it, to elevate it, to move beyond longing into certainty. Imagine desire as a flame. If it is wild and untamed, it burns you, it consumes you with endless wanting. But if you tend it, if you shape it, if you hold it steady, it becomes a guiding light that warms and illuminates. That steady flame is embodiment. That steady flame is the wealth frequency. And so I invite you to examine your desires, not with judgment, but with awareness. Are they carrying the frequency of lack or the frequency of inevitability? Are they whispering, "Not yet," or declaring, "Already done"? The shift is subtle but life-changing. This is why Revelation 2 matters. You must move from wanting to having, from desire to embodiment, for the universe does not give you what you beg for. It reflects what you believe you already are. The secret is simple, yet profound. Wealth does not come when you finally get the money. Wealth comes when you finally feel wealthy, without needing the money to prove it. From that place, money is no longer something you chase. It is something that naturally flows toward you as rivers flow toward the sea. And now we come to a truth that is so often overlooked. Yet it is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Your emotions are not random fluctuations. They are not simply reactions to whatever happens around you. They are antennas, transmitting and receiving signals from the field that shapes your reality. Every pulse of joy, every tremor of fear, every wave of doubt, every surge of gratitude. These are broadcasts, messages you are sending into the unseen dimension where possibilities live before they become form. And that dimension, which listens with exquisite sensitivity, answers in kind. The rich secret of this universe is that emotion is creation in motion. You see, thought alone has power, but thought without emotion is like a note played on a muted instrument. It barely carries. When you think a thought and feel nothing, the signal is weak. But when a thought is married with emotion, it amplifies. It becomes music. It resonates far beyond the edges of your conscious mind. That is why fear manifests so quickly, because fear is not only a thought, it is a thought charged with intense emotion. And so the universe responds urgently, faithfully, bringing you more reasons to be afraid. But the same law works with love, with gratitude, with certainty, with joy. These emotions broadcast abundance into the field, and the field returns abundance to man. Imagine for a moment that your body is a radio tower. Each emotion you feel is like a frequency you are transmitting. Gratitude sends out a signal of fullness, of having already received. Joy radiates expansion, saying, there is more where this came from. Certainty broadcasts stability, the kind of unshakable foundation that wealth loves to build upon. Fear, however, emits a signal of contraction, of withdrawal, of scarcity. Doubt flickers and distorts the signal, sending mixed messages into the field. And life, which is only a mirror, reflects those transmissions back into your experience. This is not punishment, it is precision. The universe is precise. It cannot be fooled. It cannot be tricked by empty words or shallow affirmation. It listens to the truth beneath your words, the truth of your feeling state. So many people attempt to manifest wealth by repeating mantras, by writing affirmations, by forcing their minds into certain phrases, yet inside they are vibrating with lack. They speak the words, I am wealthy, while feeling desperate, anxious, doubtful, and the field listens, not to the words but to the vibration behind them. It says, the frequency is lack, and it reflects lack, and the person wonders why nothing changes, why the affirmations do not work, why the effort seems wasted. The secret is simple. Emotion is the amplifier, and without it, the transmission is weak. But when words, thoughts, and feelings align, the signal is unstoppable. Look back on your life and notice the patterns. Recall the times you felt genuinely grateful, even for something small, a meal, a conversation, a moment of peace, and then suddenly more reasons to be grateful appear. Recall the times you were full of joy for no reason at all, and then unexpected blessings arrived. Recall the times you were certain something would happen, and indeed it did, as though the world itself bent to your expectation. These were not coincidences. They were demonstrations of the law in action. Your emotional broadcast shaped the field, and the field responded faithfully. This is why cultivating emotional awareness is not a luxury. It is a necessity for manifestation. If your emotions are antennas, then you must become conscious of what station you are tuned to. Are you transmitting fear or abundance? Are you radiating doubt or certainty? Are you broadcasting joy or despair? The frequency you choose determines the reality that answers you. And the paradox is that emotions seem to arise from circumstances, but in truth, circumstances arise from emotions. You think you are sad because you are broke, but you are broke because you are vibrating sadness. You think you are joyful because something good happened, but something good happened because you were vibrating joy. Once you reverse this understanding, you hold the key to creation in your hands. Now you may ask, how can I feel emotions that do not seem natural in the moment? How can I feel abundant when my wallet is empty, or joyful when my circumstances appear heavy? The answer is practice. Just as a musician practices until their instrument produces music without effort, you practice tuning your emotional state until it becomes your natural broadcast. Gratitude can be cultivated, even in the smallest of things. Certainty can be rehearsed, even if logic tries to argue otherwise. Joy can be awakened, not through external triggers, but through the simple act of choosing presence, of feeling life itself moving through you. Start small, for the field does not require grand gestures. Be grateful for a breath, for a moment of silence, for the warmth of the sun, for the fact that you are alive and able to hear this very message. That small spark of gratitude sends a ripple into the field, and the field responds with more reasons to feel grateful. Let certainty begin with little acts of trust, that the day will unfold, that your body will carry you, that unseen forces are already aligning in your favor. Each time you cultivate these emotions, you strengthen your broadcast, and the stronger your broadcast, the faster reality shifts. Do not underestimate the power of a single emotional shift. A moment of genuine gratitude can collapse weeks of worry. A wave of joy can dissolve obstacles before they even appear. A deep breath of certainty can turn the tide of events that seemed immovable. You are not powerless. You are the broadcaster, and the universe is the echo. And here lies the paradox that confuses so many. When you try to force external circumstances to change before you allow yourself to feel better, you remain stuck. But when you allow yourself to feel better first, circumstances begin to move. Reality does not lead, it follows. You are not waiting for wealth to make you grateful. Gratitude makes wealth come. You are not waiting for success to make you joyful. Joy makes success find you. This is the reversal, the turning inside out of the illusion. And once you grasp it, life can never be the same. So feel into this now. Close your eyes and breathe. Let your body soften. Imagine that gratitude is a current rising within you, not because of anything outside, but because you choose to notice the gift of existence itself. Imagine certainty settling in your bones, the kind of certainty that does not need proof because it knows proof will follow. Imagine joy bubbling quietly, gently, not loud or forced, but steady and real. This is the broadcast. This is the signal. This is how you bend reality. And the beauty is that you are never cut off from this ability. Even in your darkest hour, the antenna of your emotions is still broadcasting, still shaping, still creating. The question is whether you will let it default to fear, or whether you will consciously tune it to abundance. Both are available. Both are powerful. One keeps you in cycles of lack. The other opens doors that seemed impossible. The choice is always yours. So remember this revelation. Your emotions are not afterthoughts. They are instruments of creation. Gratitude, certainty, joy. These are not simply pleasant states. They are technologies of manifestation. Doubt, fear, scarcity. These are not simply moods. They are frequencies that repel abundance. Each day, each moment, you are broadcasting. Each day, each moment, the universe is listening. And each day, each moment, reality is rearranging itself to match the signal you send. Once you know this, you cannot remain unconscious. You will see every emotion as a brushstroke painting your future, every feeling as a command to the universe. And with this knowing, you step out of victimhood and into mastery. For the wealth you seek is not waiting in some distant place. It is waiting for you to tune the antenna of your heart to the frequency where it already exists. And now we step deeper into a revelation that holds a truth so simple and yet so easily forgotten. The secret is not in thinking about money, but in embodying the state of one who already has it. Most people live their lives trapped in a waiting game. They wait for the numbers in their account to shift. They wait for opportunities to appear. They wait for external validation before they allow themselves to feel secure, worthy, or abundant. But in waiting, they keep postponing the very state that would draw all of it to them. Do you see the paradox? You are not meant to wait until you have it to feel it. You are meant to feel it first, and then it cannot help but arrive. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself as the version of you who already has more than enough. This version of you does not wake up worried about bills, does not carry anxiety about survival, does not shrink when asked about finance. This version breathes differently, slower, deeper, freer. Their shoulders rest more loosely. Their eyes carry a calm shine. Their chest feels open instead of constricted. That is the frequency you are asked to embody. Not a fantasy, not a performance, but a rehearsal of truth. because that version of you already exists in the field of infinite timelines. When you step into their state now, you collapse the distance between who you think you are and who you truly are. Embodiment is not about pretending. Pretending carries the vibration of falseness, of I am trying to convince myself. The universe knows the difference. Embodiment is about remembering. Remembering that you were never meant to beg for abundance but to radiate it. When you embody wealth, you are not saying, I will become this one day. You are saying, this is who I am. And reality is simply catching up. That certainty, that calm assumption is magnetic beyond words. It does not demand. It does not cling. It's simply think of a king or a queen. They do not walk into their palace each morning and say, I hope this throne is still mine. They embody their position, and their environment reflects it back without question. In the same way, when you embody wealth, the field begins to rearrange itself around that state. You stop being someone who is trying to get rich, and you become someone wealth recognizes as its home. And wealth, like all energy, moves toward the place where it is welcomed, where it belongs, where it is honored. This embodiment begins within the smallest of actions. How would the wealthy version of you move through this day? How would they speak? How would they treat themselves? How would they handle a challenge? When you begin living these answers now, even in subtle ways, you step into alignment with that version of yourself. And the moment you step into alignment, you activate the field's response. Opportunities begin to surface not because you forced them, but because you became the one who naturally attracts them. Do not underestimate the power of small signal. When you choose to carry yourself with dignity, when you choose to speak with confidence, when you choose to treat your environment with care, you are telling the universe, this is the state I live in, and the universe, precise and responsive, adjusts its reflection. This is why people who embody success seem to receive more of it. It is not that they are lucky. It is that they are broadcasting a clear signal that cannot be ignored. They are not waiting for proof. They are living as proof. And here lies a subtle truth. The energy of desperation is heavy. It pushes what you want away. But the energy of embodiment is light. It allows it in. When you are desperate, you clutch, you grip, you chase. When you embody, you relax, you trust, you allow. One state says, I don't have it yet, and I must fight for it. The other says, it is already mine, and I am simply allowing it to unfold. And the universe, which always mirrors your deepest signal, responds accordingly. So I ask you, what state are you embodying right now? Be honest with yourself. Are you embodying lack, carrying yourself as someone still begging the future to deliver? Or are you embodying abundance, carrying yourself as someone who already knows they are provided for? This question matters more than any action you could take, because action born from lack multiplies lack, while action born from embodiment multiplies abundance. You cannot fake it, but you can practice it. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes, until you no longer even think about it. You simply live it. And the beauty is, you do not need millions in the bank to begin. In fact, waiting for that is what keeps it from arriving. You can embody wealth now, with what you have, where you are. You can breathe as though every cell in your body is already supported by infinite abundance. You can move as though opportunities are already unfolding for you. You can trust as though the next step is already being revealed, even if you cannot yet see it. This is not delusion. It is alignment. You are aligning your state with the version of you who already exists in the quantum field, the version of you who lives in abundance. And by aligning, you merge with them. Notice the paradox here. The less you chase wealth, the more it finds you. The less you obsess over it, the more naturally it flows. Because when you stop treating it as something outside of you, when you embody it as something already within you, the game changes. Wealth is no longer something distant. It becomes something inevitable, something natural, something you carry with you wherever you go. And so the invitation of this revelation is simple yet profound. Stop thinking about money as an object to be acquired, and start embodying the state of wealth itself. Let your body, your mind, your energy move as though the abundance you seek is already yours, for in truth it is. You are not calling it from a distant place. You are remembering what has always been here, and when you embody it, you collapse the illusion of distance, and wealth arrives, not as a stranger, but as a reflection of who you have already become. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. Not thinking but feeling, not wishing but embodying, not waiting but being. And the moment you choose this state, the entire field bends to meet you there, for reality cannot deny embodiment. It must echo back the truth you radiate. And once you understand this, you will never again ask when wealth will arrive. You will know that it has already arrived, because you are already living as the one who holds it. Wealth flows toward clarity. This is a truth so few understand, and yet it explains why some people seem to stumble into endless opportunities while others wander in circles, no matter how hard they push. The universe is not confused. It listens precisely, faithfully, and it answers exactly the signal you send. If your vision is foggy, if your energy is scattered, if your desires contradict each other, then the field cannot give you what you want, for you yourself are not sure what you are asking for. The vague attract vaguely, but the clear attract clearly. This is why wealth feels elusive for so many. They are sending a signal of indecision, and reality mirrors it back as delay, uncertainty, and inconsistency. Clarity is not just about goals written on paper, though that can help. Clarity is a state of being, an alignment of mind, heart, and energy, all pointing in the same direction. When you know why you want wealth, not just the surface reasons, but the deeper truth, you begin to transmit a coherent frequency. That coherence is magnetic. It is like tuning a radio perfectly to one station. The sound becomes crisp, the message unmistakable. But when you are unclear, it is as though you are twisting the dial back and forth, catching bits of different stations, never holding the signal steady long enough for the universe to respond. Ask yourself now with honesty, why do you seek wealth? Is it merely to escape fear, to silence anxiety, to patch the wounds of insecurity? If so, your signal carries the vibration of lack, and that is what will be mirrored back to you. But if your reason is expansion, to grow, to give, to create, to open yourself into new dimensions of life, then your signal is aligned with the rhythm of the universe itself, which is always expanding. Fear contracts, expansion attracts. The clearer your intention, the stronger your magnetism. This is not about moral judgment, it is about resonance. The field does not punish or reward, it reflects. If your clarity is rooted in love, in joy, in contribution, then the reflection you receive is rich and full. If your clarity is rooted in fear, in survival, in desperation, then the reflection will be just enough to keep fear alive. That is why so many people get stuck in cycles of barely enough, because their signal is I just need to survive, and the universe says yes to that, delivering exactly and only what matches. But when your signal is I am here to expand, to flourish, to overflow, the universe echoes that abundance back. Clarity also means being specific. The wealthy version of you is not. They know what kind of life they live, what experiences they prioritize, what values guide their choices. They are not sending out a confused call of more, more, more. They are broadcasting a clear song, this much, this way, for this purpose. When the universe hears such a song, it can orchestrate with precision. Without it, the response is scattered. It is like ordering from a menu by saying, just bring me something. You might receive something, but it may not satisfy you. But when you know exactly what you want, the delivery is precise. Now, this does not mean you must know every detail of your future. It is not about micromanaging the universe. Clarity is not control. It is direction. It is about aligning your frequency with a vision that feels true and alive in your body. The details may surprise you, but the essence is unmistakable. For example, you may not know the exact path to wealth, but you know the feeling of freedom, of generosity, of expansion you are calling it. That feeling is the clarity. That essence is the signal. The path will reveal itself once the frequency is steady. There is another paradox here. Many believe that if they chase multiple goals at once, they are multiplying their chances. But what they are often doing is dividing their signal. Energy scattered across too many directions becomes weak. Energy focused into one clear direction becomes unstoppable. This is why a magnifying glass can set a fire when the sunlight is concentrated. But the same sunlight without focus only warms gently. Your focus is your magnifying glass. Your clarity is the lens that concentrates the infinite energy of the field into form. And yet clarity does not mean rigidity. It is not about clinging so tightly to a picture that you suffocate the flow. It is about holding a clear essence while remaining open to how it arrives. Imagine saying to the universe, "This is my vision. This is my feeling. This is my expansion. I am clear about what I desire, but I trust you with the details." That trust allows the field to deliver in ways beyond what your mind could imagine. Without clarity, there is nothing to deliver. Without openness, you reject what is given. Both clarity and openness must move together, like breath in and breath out. Look again at those who seem to attract wealth with ease. They are not wandering aimlessly. They are not chasing everything. They have a sense of direction. They are clear about their path, clear about their values, clear about what matters to them. And because of that, when opportunities appear, they recognize them instantly. They do not hesitate, because the opportunity is already aligned with the frequency they have been transmitted. The vague hesitate, doubt, overthink, miss the timing, because they have not yet decided who they are or what they truly desire. So clarity is both inner and outer. Inner clarity is knowing why you desire wealth, what state of being it supports, what version of yourself it awakens. Outer clarity is translating that into action, into choices that align with that vision. When inner and outer clarity meet, the universe has no choice but to echo it back with precision. Do not be afraid to declare your clarity. The universe is vast, but it is not confused. It is listening to you always. If you whisper vaguely, it answers vaguely. If you speak with conviction, it answers with power. Declare who you are, what you desire, why you are here. Feel that declaration in your body, not as a distant dream, but as an already existing truth. The moment you embody that clarity, reality begins its rearrangement. The phone call, the idea, the connection, the synchronicity, they come because you finally sent a clear invitation. So remember this: wealth flows toward clarity. If you want it to flow toward you, decide who you are, decide why you want it, decide what you will expand into once it arrives. Do not leave the field guessing. Send a clear signal, and trust that it will return to you with precision and power. For the vague attract vaguely, but the clear attract clearly. And once you embody clarity, wealth is no longer something you chase. It becomes something that cannot help but find you, because your signal has become undeniable. Energy responds to emotion. And this is one of the secrets most people overlook when they wonder why their efforts seem empty, why affirmations feel hollow, why vision boards remain untouched by reality. The field does not simply answer your words. It answers the vibration beneath them. You can repeat "I am wealthy" 1,000 times, but if the emotion that vibrates beneath those words is doubt, fear, or disbelief, then the true signal you are sending is not wealth at all. It is lack. The universe hears not the mask of language, but the pulse of feeling. That is why someone who says very little but feels deeply aligned in gratitude, joy, and openness can manifest far more quickly than someone who speaks endlessly of abundance yet vibrates with worry. Emotion is the current that animates the signal, and without it the frequency is flat. Think of your body as the broadcasting tower. Thoughts create the blueprint, clarity sets the direction, but emotion is the electricity that lights the signal and carries it outward. Without emotion, the blueprint remains lifeless, like a plan that never gets built. But when you infuse your vision with true feeling, with joy so real you can taste it, with gratitude so full it trembles in your chest, then the universe is compelled to respond. You have given the field not only a shape but a living pulse, a frequency that cannot be ignored. This is why the wealthiest souls are not simply thinkers, but feelers. They allow themselves to feel the state of having before it arrives, and that feeling transmits the unmistakable truth to the quantum field. This reality already exists, and I am living it now. And yet here is the paradox. Many people resist feeling. They wait for the condition to give them permission. They say, when I have wealth, then I will feel secure. When I have money, then I will feel joy. When I see proof, then I will feel gratitude. But the universe cannot deliver on that sequence because it is reversed. The field does not give you something so that you can feel it. It mirrors what you already feel. If you wait for proof before you feel abundance, you are broadcasting lack. But if you dare to feel abundance before the proof, then proof becomes inevitable. The emotion precedes the evidence, not the other way around. This is why gratitude is often spoken of as a key, because gratitude does not wait. Gratitude says, I already receive, I already live in the flow, I already feel the expansion of wealth. Gratitude transmits a frequency of fullness, and fullness attracts more fullness. On the other hand, longing and desperation transmit emptiness, and emptiness echoes back as more emptiness. The field is perfectly impartial. It reflects the dominant vibration. That is why emotional mastery is not a luxury but a necessity for anyone who wishes to manifest wealth. To master your emotions is to master your frequency, and to master your frequency is to master your reality. Do not misunderstand this mastery as repression, to suppress fear, to deny doubt, to bury sadness. This is not mastery, but resistance, and resistance itself becomes a frequency. To pretend you are happy when you are not is to send a fractured signal. True mastery is to feel honestly, to acknowledge whatever rises, but then to choose deliberately which emotion you continue to fuel. You cannot stop the wind from blowing, but you can choose which direction to set your sail. Likewise, you may feel a flash of fear, but you need not build your life around it. You can notice it, release it, and then return to the emotional frequency of abundance, joy, and gratitude. That choice, repeated, creates the steady current that builds momentum in the field. Consider how quickly children manifest desires. They are not weighed down by endless doubts. They allow themselves to feel excitement, to embody imagination, to live in the reality of play. To a child, imagining they are rich feels as real as anything else, and the universe responds to that purity of feeling. Adults, however, often sabotage their own frequency with skepticism. They refuse to feel until conditions prove themselves, but the very refusal is what blocks the proof. To return to the innocence of feeling before evidence is to return to the creative state, where manifestation accelerates. You may ask, how do I cultivate the right emotions when my circumstances feel heavy? How do I feel wealth when bills press on me, when opportunities seem scarce? The answer is to find the smallest doorway. You do not have to leap instantly into ecstasy. Begin with one sincere breath of gratitude for something undeniable in your life. Perhaps it is the warmth of your body, the air that fills your lungs, the sunlight that touches your skin. Let that gratitude expand. Let it ripple. From there, begin to imagine how wealth would feel in your body, not as fantasy but as sensation. How does ease feel? How does freedom feel? How does generosity feel? Let those feelings live in your chest, in your breath, in your skin. The more real they become in your body, the louder your signal becomes to the universe. And remember, wealth is not only money. Wealth is expansion in all forms. Wealth is love, peace, creativity, vitality, time, and yes, financial freedom. If you practice the emotion of wealth in small ways, in savoring a meal, in appreciating a moment of laughter, in honoring your own growth, you are tuning yourself to the wealth frequency. Money then becomes one of many reflections of that frequency. If you make money the sole focus without cultivating the broader feeling of wealth, the frequency becomes too narrow, too desperate. But when you embody wealth as a state of being, money flows as a natural companion. Do not underestimate joy. Joy is not frivolous. It is powerful. Joy is a frequency that calls forth abundance because it signals to the field, this being is already whole, already overflowing, already open. Joy is magnetic. Many chase wealth in order to earn joy, but those who allow joy first attract wealth more easily. It is not a reward for struggle. It is a byproduct of alignment. So let this be your practice. not to force wealth with thought alone, but to feel wealth into existence. Choose emotions that resonate with the reality you wish to live. Practice them until they are natural, until they arise without effort. Let gratitude be your foundation, joy your compass, and trust your atmosphere. As you hold these emotions, you will notice subtle shifts, unexpected opportunities, serendipitous connections, new ideas, doors opening where walls once stood. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that the field is answering your emotional frequency. And if you fall, if you slip into fear, if doubt returns, do not punish yourself. Simply return, again and again. Return to the emotional frequency of wealth. Over time, the returning becomes easier, the feeling becomes steadier, the signal becomes undeniable. And when your signal is undeniable, reality must obey. Emotion is the language the universe cannot refute. There comes a point in your unfolding when you realize that wealth is not something you chase, not something distant that you must run toward, but something you must allow. This is one of the most paradoxical truths of manifestation, because it dissolves the illusion of effort as the path to abundance. The world has conditioned you to believe that harder work, longer hours, and heavier struggle are the currency of prosperity. And yet, those who live in exhaustion, who live in constant fight, often find themselves circling the same limitations, no matter how much energy they burn. The truth is not that effort has no place, but that effort alone is not the doorway. The doorway is surrender. Wealth is received, not forced. And the moment you understand this, the chase dissolves, and something greater begins to flow. Surrender is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is giving over. It is releasing the illusion that you must control every variable, micromanage every outcome, force reality into your shape. Surrender is the recognition that you are not separate from the field, but part of it, that the universe is not a machine to be pushed, but a living intelligence that already knows how to deliver what you desire. When you stop resisting, when you stop clutching so tightly, when you let go of the fear that if you relax it will all fall apart, you finally create space for wealth to arrive, because wealth is not born of strain, it is born of alignment. Consider how water flows. The river does not struggle to reach the ocean. It does not grip its banks in panic or thrash against the current. It moves with effortless inevitability, because it knows its direction. It trusts gravity. It trusts the path. It trusts that every bend is still leading it home. Wealth is the same. It is not a mountain you must climb on bloody knees. It is a river that is already flowing toward you, if only you stop damming it with fear and resist. To surrender is to remove the dam, to let the current carry you, to allow the flow of abundance that has always been there to finally move through you. And yet, many resist surrender because they confuse it with passivity. They think, if I surrender, I will do nothing. I will become lazy. I will lose ambition. But this is misunderstanding. True surrender does not paralyze you. It liberates you. When you surrender, you release wasted energy spent on controlling the uncontrollable. That energy returns to you free to be used creatively, joyfully, powerfully. You act from inspiration rather than desperation. You move when the field moves you, and those movements are far more effective than the countless frantic actions of fear. One inspired step in surrender can accomplish what 100 desperate steps could not. The paradox is that surrender requires courage. It is easy to cling, to tighten your grip, to force and push, because the ego believes control equals safety. It is harder to let go, to trust what you cannot yet see, to rest in the unseen arms of the universe. But every great shift in your life has come not from force but from allowing. Love arrived when you stopped chasing it. Opportunities appeared when you stopped doubting. Clarity came when you stopped overthinking. The same is true for wealth. When you stop grasping, when you stop vibrating desperation, when you breathe into trust, wealth finally has permission to approach. Surrender is also the recognition that you are already enough. So much of the chase for wealth is driven by the illusion of inadequacy, the belief that until you have more you are incomplete. But the field does not answer inadequacy with fullness. It answers inadequacy with more mirrors of lack. To surrender is to declare, I am whole now, I am abundant now, I am aligned now. Wealth is not my completion, it is my expansion. And when you live in that recognition, wealth flows not as a crutch, but as an extension of your already whole self. Look at nature again. The tree does not chase the sunlight, it simply grows toward it. The flower does not beg the bee, it opens and the bee comes. This is surrender in action, not passivity, but alignment. You too are meant to grow and open, to radiate your frequency, to trust that what is aligned with that openness will find you. You do not need to run frantically after it. You need to embody it, to allow it, to become the field in which it naturally arrives. Allowing wealth also means releasing timelines. The ego wants everything now, in this instant, and when it does not arrive on its schedule, it panics. But the universe does not run on clocks. It runs on alignment. Wealth arrives when your frequency is steady, when your clarity is strong, when your emotions are coherent. To surrender is to trust that timing, to know that delay is not denial, that what you desire is already unfolding in unseen ways. The seed is already germinating beneath the soil, even when you see nothing on the surface. If you dig it up in impatience, you kill it. But if you trust and allow, the sprout inevitably breaks through. So many live in cycles of resistance. They ask, they visualize, they affirm, and then in the next breath they doubt, they worry, they clutch. It is like planting a seed and then pouring poison on it with their fear. But when you surrender, you plant the seed and let it grow. You water it with gratitude. You nourish it with trust. And you allow the invisible processes of life to do what they do best, unfold in perfect rhythm. Wealth responds to this same rhythm. It comes when you stop demanding and start allowing. Surrender also reveals the truth that wealth is not something external rushing toward you. It is something that flows through you. You are not waiting for the field to deliver from outside. You are allowing your own channels to open. The more you release resistance, the more those channels widen. You are not separate from abundance. You are a conduit for it. To surrender is to stop damming the channel of your own being, to let the current of wealth that is already moving in the universe pass freely through you. And so, surrender is not defeat, it is alignment. It is not passive, it is receptive. It is not laziness, it is trust. It is the brave choice to allow rather than force, to breathe rather than clutch, to expand rather than contract. In surrender, wealth ceases to be a chase, and instead becomes a natural unfolding, an inevitable flow. The more you release, the more you receive, the more you trust, the more you attract, the more you allow, the more you overflow. So I tell you now, wealth is not earned by desperation. Wealth is not caught by chasing. Wealth is allowed by those who dare to surrender, who dare to trust the unseen, who dare to open their hands and let the universe place its gifts freely into their palms. This is the paradox. The less you grasp, the more you gain. The less you force, the more flows in. The moment you allow wealth, you realize it was never separate from you at all. It was always here, waiting for you to let go. There is a final truth, and it is perhaps the most difficult for the mind to accept, but the most liberating for the soul to embody. Wealth is not something you acquire, not a treasure to be stored away, not an object that can be truly owned. Wealth is a current, a flow, a rhythm of giving and receiving. When you treat wealth as a possession to cling to, it grows stagnant, heavy, fearful. When you treat it as a current, it multiplies, it circulates, it expands endlessly. The secret of true prosperity is not only to receive, but to become a vessel through which wealth can move, to let it pass through you into creation, into service, into the lives of others. For the more you give, the more you demonstrate to the universe that you trust the flow, and the more the flow widens to meet your trust. This is the paradox. The miser, who clings tightly, always feels poor, no matter how much they hold, for their energy is locked in fear of loss. But the generous, even with little, always feels wealthy, for they are in harmony with the river of abundance. And because the universe mirrors frequency, the generous receive more and more to give, while the miser watches their stagnant pool evaporate. This is why you are called not only to manifest wealth, but to circulate it, to let it breathe, to let it grow through sharing. Money in motion creates life, opportunities, expansion. Money hoarded becomes a tombstone for fear. But giving is not sacrifice, it is alignment. To give in resentment is not wealth. To give in fear is not wealth. True giving flows from the recognition that you are already abundant, that you are part of an infinite source. You cannot outgive the universe. Every act of generosity expands the channel through which abundance flows, making you a clearer vessel for receiving. And this does not mean you must always give money. Wealth can be expressed in love, in kindness, in wisdom, in time, in attention. Every form of circulation affirms to the field, I trust the flow, and the field responds, then I will send you more to circulate. Do not misunderstand, this is not about depleting yourself, not about martyrdom or self-denial. That too is rooted in lack. Circulation requires balance. To give is to exhale, to receive is to inhale. Both are necessary for life. If you only give, you suffocate. If you only take, you choke. The dance of wealth is in the rhythm of both. So receive fully, without guilt, for that too affirms abundance. And give freely, without fear, for that too affirms abundance. In this rhythm, wealth becomes effortless, infinite, alive. Imagine for a moment that wealth is light streaming through a stained glass window. If you try to block it, the room grows dark. But if you let it pass through, it colors everything with beauty. It illuminates spaces you did not even know were waiting. You are the window. Wealth is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to pass through you into creation, into expansion, into joy. When you understand this, wealth ceases to be a burden and becomes a song, an art, a flow you can dance with. And here lies the ultimate mystery. The more you identify yourself as the source of wealth, rather than a seeker of wealth, the more infinite your experience becomes. You are not merely a receiver, you are a creator. The field does not drip prosperity upon you like charity, it responds through you. As the ideas that come, the inspiration that moves you, the creations you birth, the opportunities you recognize, these are wealth expressing itself through your being. When you own this truth, you no longer feel the desperation of chasing something outside of you. You realize you are standing inside the current itself, and you always were. The question then is not how do I get more, but how do I align more deeply with what already is. The river of wealth has never stopped flowing. What stopped was your openness, your clarity, your trust, your emotion, your surrender. Now as all these revelations converge, the channel is open again. Feel it. Wealth is already here, already moving, already seeking expression through you. All you must do is allow it, embody it, circulate it. So the journey comes full circle. First you remembered that wealth is frequency, that clarity is magnetism, that emotion is the pulse, that surrender is the flow. And now you see that giving is the expansion. It is not random that you are hearing this now. This message did not stumble into your life by accident. It is a mirror of what you already knew deep inside, but perhaps forgot beneath layers of doubt and conditioning. Now you are remembering. Now you are reawakening to the truth that abundance is not a prize to be won, but a nature to be lived. And so I speak to you directly, not as a teacher to a student, but as one soul to another, as a reminder, echoing back what you already are. You are wealth itself, vibrating, circulating, expanding. You are the current, not the cup. You are the river, not the reservoir. You are the infinite channel through which abundance enters the world. To deny this is to deny yourself. To embrace this is to become unstoppable. So let me leave you with this call. Do not just listen, embody. Do not just nod, feel. Do not let these words remain ideas. Let them become frequency. Let them become your lived vibration. Tonight, as you rest, feel wealth moving through you. Tomorrow, as you rise, walk as though you are already abundance in motion. Give freely when the impulse arises. Receive graciously when blessings arrive. And trust always that the flow is infinite. If this truth resonated in you, it is because you were ready to remember. So share this message with others who are ready to awaken. Circulate the energy, expand the current. And if you feel called, like this transmission, comment your realization, and subscribe to remain connected to more frequencies of remembrance. For the more we align together, the more powerful the current becomes, and the more each of us will rise into the wealth that was always. Now breathe deeply, and know this: the flow has already begun. You are no longer outside of it. You are the flow, you are the wealth, and from this moment forward, life will never look the same.